Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Jack from On the Spot Sports, and I'm along with
Frank Zawrazky from the Tomahawk Roundup on WNCH 88.1 FM.
and this is the NHL episode, and we'll be covering who we think's going to be like good, who's going to be bad team-wise, and then we'll get to like top defensemen in the league right now, and then we'll also get to some trades by the end of the episode. So, but first we're going to start with our top 10 defensemen. We already did 10, 9, 8 in our preview, so we'll start at 7. So who's your number 7, Frank?
7 for me has to be Brock Besser. You know, he's if he does decide to re-sign in Vancouver, he's going to be part of that core. I imagine he will, but the way he's such a powerful offensive defenseman, he's just hitting his stride, and I really like where this kid is going in this young core group in Vancouver.
I also have to go Brock Besser for number 7. Just you gave all the right reasons. He's a good hitter, powerful. He's also not afraid to score. You can get in on the rush, which is always a key for a good defenseman. Who's your number 6?
Number 6 for me, I'm going to have to go with probably Victor Hedman. You know, Victor Hedman, he's part of the solid Tampa Bay Lightning team. You know, he's one of the reasons why they had that outstanding regular season last season. And, you know, just his offensive production, his defensive production, he's a utility night player. He's all around a great player to have on your team. So I'm really excited to see where he goes. You know, obviously a disappointing playoff finish for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but hopefully you rebound from it and you bring him into the fold stronger than ever.
My number 6 is PK Subban, newly acquired New Jersey Devil. I like PK Subban as a person too. He's really chill, but he's also I also like how he plays his game. He plays it hard no matter what, and he's always getting into the scrums if he has to, which is always a good thing to see for any team. Who's number 5?
Number 5, I gotta say, you know, Shea Weber. Shea Weber, because he came into a Montreal environment where, you know, you lose Max Pacioretty to the Vegas Golden Knights. You've got a lot of questions surrounding Marc Bergevin and leadership, and Shea Weber comes in off of injured reserve, and he comes in and he makes a splash. You know, he sets the group straight. He's one of the reasons that core group almost made the playoffs in Montreal this season. We're just a couple points out of the second wild card spot. But, yeah, Shea Weber's experience in Nashville and his leadership in Montreal put him where I see fit.
My number 5 has to be Shea Weber. Just, you've already given all the reasons, but I think he's easily a top 5 defenseman in the NHL right now. Number 4, Oliver
Ekman Larsson. You know, Oliver Ekman Larsson, you know, with the Arizona Coyotes after Shane Doan left, there were a lot of questions who would fill that role. And one of the veterans from those days, you know, Oliver Ekman Larsson, he picks up right where Shane Doan left off, puts the C on his jersey, and really just exemplifies to this young Coyotes core. You know, you got Hinostroza, you got Clayton Keller, you got Nick Schmaltz. I mean, those 3 guys alone are offensive firepower, and they need some guidance in Oliver Ekman Larsson. They can get that.
Number 4 for me, I'm going to have to go Erik Gustafsson of the Blackhawks. Just because he's not afraid to throw the body around. He's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of getting scrums, he also loves to score. And you can see that he's always on the rush for the Hawks, no matter what team they're playing.
Yeah. Now, I have to go Gustafsson too for number what is it, 3 now?
3, yeah.
Number 3, Garrett Gustafsson, you know, like you said, but he's been such a critical part of that offense. His chemistry with Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat and the young guys that they're bringing in like Strome just really sets him in that new core, that new era of Chicago Blackhawks hockey. Expect when his contract's up for him to get a massive extension.
My number 3 has to be Erik Karlsson of the Sharks, because he's always been a top 4 guy in my eyes, from his time in Ottawa to now. He's always a defensive first guy. He's always a solid defenseman, no matter what team he's playing on.
Yeah, number 2 for me has to be Aaron Ekblad of the Florida Panthers. Aaron Ekblad brings that firepower. You know, a lot of people look, hockey in South Beach, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, when you look at guys like Barkov and who's on the back end with Barkov, you got to look at Aaron Ekblad. And now with the addition of Noah Achari and Sergei Bobrovsky, you know, you've got a really dynamic Florida Panthers team. So people in South Florida are going to have some really exciting hockey to look forward to.
I also say Aaron Ekblad for the number 2 spot. Just you've said all the right reasons. He's also a scorer too. He can shoot the puck well. And he's not afraid to get those big body checks and stick up for his teammates whenever they need the help.
Yeah, for me, my number 1's got to be Roman Josi, the Nashville Predators. Roman Josi, you know, brings that leadership. Was with the Stanley Cup final team that unfortunately fell short to Pittsburgh, but he really is hard in on the body, but is a scoring defenseman. He's a hybrid of Brent Burns and Eric Gustafsson. That's the way I best describe him.
For my number 1, I'm between Roman Josi and Brent Burns, but I think I'm going to have to go with Brent Burns just because he's well-rounded all the way around. He helped the Sharks big time in the playoffs this last season, and he's always been like a difference maker, no matter the team he's playing for. And it's hard to play against him too. And that beard though.
The beard. Yeah, if Jumbo Joe doesn't re-sign, you got one big beard in San Jose.
That is true. All right, now we move on to who do we think is going to be on the top half of the NHL this year, or the bottom half of the NHL this year?
Top half of the year, top half of the NHL, I'm going to look at the Chicago Blackhawks with some of the moves they've made, getting Ryan Carpenter, getting Andrew Shaw back. They're bringing some depth into the face-off circle, and that was some problems they had. And now they can do more than one look on the power play with Shaw, getting his big body in front of the net. But I also want to take a look at the Dallas Stars, you know, acquiring Corey Perry and Joe Pavelski. That's going to be some great veteran leadership for guys like Tyler Seguin and Miro Heiskanen, who are going to be the future of the Dallas Stars. The bottom end for me, going to go New York Islanders, hot take, because, you know, they lose Robin Leonard, and that was a really important piece to their locker room. And you bring in Semyon Varlamov, who has had some questionable off-ice character problems and has had some inconsistency in Colorado, having his spot kind of taken from him by Philip Grubauer, and just, you know, they're losing some of the pieces from last year that made them such a deep team. And New York Islander fans, you know, I'd expect them to move somebody like Nick Leddy to acquire maybe a third goaltender. My take. Also on the bottom half for me, got to be the Ottawa Senators. I mean, it's not going to surprise a lot of people. They don't have a lot of offensive firepower. They lost Matthew Shane in the trade. Their one strong suit, which I will give them, is goaltending. They've got this up-and-coming prospect, Joey Decord, out of Arizona State University. Really, really excited to see what he can do, whether that starts in the American League or starts in the National League. So those are my two guys that I'm looking forward to having in the two teams in the top and two teams in the bottom.
My few teams for the top. I think the Sharks and the Golden Knights are going to stay up top. I think the Lightning will stay on top, and just because like what they went through last year, and Vasilevsky just got a new contract offer, so that'll probably boost his confidence and help him play even better than he did last year, even though last year was an unreal season for him. And I think the Hurricanes will stay up there. They just re-signed Peter Mrazek. And I think the Devils will go up from where they were last year, because with Jack Hughes coming, I think he's going to be a big prospect for them. He's going to do big things for them, for the Devils. I think the Sabres may move up a little bit, just from what happened last year. Like, they started really good in the first half and then fell apart in the second half. But I think they'll just continue to improve every single year, and hopefully they'll just, once they get on a winning streak this year, they'll continue all the way through. I think the Blackhawks will definitely be up in the mix for a playoff spot with like their new signing Robin Leonard, getting Andrew Shaw back, and all these Kirby Docs prospects for them.
We got some breaking news coming in out of Minnesota. Craig Leopold announced that he has relieved General Manager Paul Fenton of the Minnesota Wild of his general management duties. So your initial reaction to that?
I'm surprised, honestly.
It was especially only after one season.
Yeah. Hopefully the Wild can be a lot better of a team this year, though. Hopefully. But because I like seeing their competitive edge whenever they're like really good. They're on, like everything's on, so it's fun to see. But they didn't have that good of a season last year. Just the playoffs, obviously. So I mean, it's kind of expected that they'll do something to change it up. But going back to bottom teams, I think Islanders will definitely tank more since they got rid of Vezina finalist Robin Leonard. And they got Semyon Varlamov, who's questionable, who could have a good season or he could have a really bad season. It all depends on the season. I also think the Blue Jackets will definitely go down this year just because they lost Shea Weber, their star goalie, their star forward, Artemi Panarin. So that'll be a huge difference. And they lost Matt Duchene too earlier. So that'll be hard to repair. I think that will have them fall apart a little bit there. But that's my take on the top and bottom of the NHL. And now we move on to some of the big trades. Who do you want to talk about first?
Biggest trade for me, biggest trade this off season. I don't see one big trade sticking out to me. This wasn't like 2016 with Shea Weber and PK Subban. The free agency signings made a splash. This is probably one of the deepest free agent classes we've had in a long time. Matt Duchene, Joe Pavelski, Artemi Panarin. The list goes on and on. But I want to go over the Panarin deal. His agent had said, to me at least, he wanted to go to a big city. He had told me in my brief conversations with Mr. Milstein, Mr. Panarin's former agent, he had said he wanted a big city environment, and he has made
New
that
York
public.
is definitely a big city.
Yeah, he wanted a bright light. He wanted a bright lights environment, and New York City is where he's going to get it. In terms of Matt Duchene, I don't like the move by the Predators. You've got a lot of offensive power. You got rid of the cap hit with PK Subban, and I would say you want to trade for somebody younger, trade for somebody younger. I would have entered the Panarin race. I don't know if they would have said yes, but get some offensive firepower, and spread it around the lines, not just invested in one big player.
Yeah, I feel that. Another big thing, I think, is Blackhawks signing Robin Leonard to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. I think that's a really good move by the Hawks, and the Islanders obviously lost that trade because they lost a Vezina finalist. And I think Robin Leonard will eventually take over the number 1 spot for Corey Crawford, whether that be early in the season or middle of the season. I think the Hawks will start Crawford the first couple games, and then they'll see where he goes from there, and then Robin Leonard will come in and just sweep everything away. Yeah. I think he could be a Vezina Trophy winner this year.
Yeah,
and help the Hawks make a playoff spot.
Because worst case scenario, Corey Crawford gets another concussion, and just unfortunately he might retire due to that other concussion. But we don't want to speculate. But what we do want to say is worst case, Corey Crawford gets injured and Robin Leonard takes over the number 1 spot. Best case, both of them stay healthy and you have one of the best 1-2 punches in goaltending in the league.
If Crawford ends up getting injured, they have another solid backup, Colin Delia from Rockford.
Yeah, when I talked with Delia, he was excited wherever he could be, whether that's Rockford, whether that was Indy, or whether that was in Chicago. He was really excited to just go and play hockey.
Another big signing in free agency was New Jersey Devils signing PK Subban.
Absolutely. PK Subban provides some very, very deep, some much needed depth on the back end for the New Jersey Devils. They have Taylor Hall. They had Keith Kincaid in net. Obviously he's in Montreal now. But
Corey Schneider,
he's got some depth. But they needed some help defensively. Taylor Hall can't run the show entirely himself. And with Jack Hughes on that line, look out for the Devils, because now PK is your two-way defenseman, if you will, and he's gonna add some firepower to that lineup.
I agree with that. I'm excited to see PK on the New Jersey Devils. It'll be a fun season for him, and hopefully he can get the Devils into a playoff spot, maybe. Another big thing is the Joe Pavelski deal.
Yeah, the Joe Pavelski deal. I'm baffled by that. If you're San Jose, why you don't bring your captain back for a defenseman who's a great defenseman, but you have a tenure in San Jose. He's your captain. He's beloved by the fans. He was coming off a great season in the playoffs, bouncing back. I just don't see why you don't take him over Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, for sure. That honestly surprised me. I thought Pavelski was going to be there for his whole career, because that's what everyone kept saying. I'm pretty sure Pavelski wanted to be in San Jose too, but he got traded. But it'll be a new thing for him. But I think he's excited for the opportunity.
Yeah.
The Golden Knights have gotten rid of some players this year.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan Carpenter was a big loss for them in the face-off circle. He's got that depth that people desire in a team, and if you don't have that depth, you can't have guys like Karlsson and Jonathan Marchessault, just retaining their end of the deal, because they won't have the puck on their stick.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a big loss for them, but I don't think the Golden Knights will be that affected by it, because they have their depth is a really nice, well done. Like, 2 years ago, you'd think that the Golden Knights would not be this good, but they have been, and I don't see that changing in a while, especially with all the players that they've been receiving down from the Chicago Wolves. They're also a solid team, and their depth is insane. But I'm excited to see the Golden Knights play again. I want to see a Golden Knights Sharks rematch.
Absolutely.
In the playoffs, and they play their first 2 games against the Sharks, so that's going to be a big rivalry game. 2 big rivalry games in the first 2 games of the season, so that'll be fun to watch.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Jeff?
Well, I have one more thing. What do you think about the St. Louis Blues winning the Stanley Cup?
I'm not impressed. You're not impressed? They had the talent from the beginning. They just had an unfortunate coaching situation in St. Louis. Like Jonathan Tate said, I'm not ready to give them that credit that everybody else is.
I will give credit to Jordan Binnington, though.
That I will give credit to. Him and Ryan O'Reilly I will give major credit to.
I give credit to the Blues, though, just because they're a dead last team. No one thought they were going to make it this far, and then they come from January to June, from last to first.
That doesn't surprise me, given the talent pool they had. They had David Perron back in St. Louis. I'm not surprised they went all the way there. I'm really not.
Jordan Binnington was sensational.
Oh, there's no question. But they could have done it with Jake Allen and another goaltender they had picked up. Jordan Binnington just accelerated that process.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He went ahead of the depth chart and passed the other goalies.
Yeah.
And then Ryan O'Reilly won the MVP, which I'm not surprised by.
No, not in the slightest.
He's a goal scorer all the way. He's not afraid to get physical either.
No. He's really just excited just to be in St. Louis. He didn't like the environment in Buffalo, and he just comes back and shows everybody what they were missing in Buffalo.
I feel that. I think that's it for this video. So thank you for coming along on this podcast, Frank.
Absolutely, happy to do it.
And let me know in the comments below if you feel like what you feel about the free agency and all the trades that's happening and everything, and we'll get a discussion going. But comment like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow our Instagram on the Spot Sports with underscores separating each word. And that's it. So we'll see you guys later. This is Jack.